Welcome back to the Open Wheel Offline League Season 4 Round 16. Just a few races left to go before the championship is decided, and we're here at Kentucky Speedway for the first time. Qualifying about to begin. The order in which cars will go out is on the left side of your screen. 44 of Lewis Hamilton up first, doing his first qualifying here on an oval. Down the backstretch, 200, just shy of 240, going into turn 3. This track is a little asymmetric, a lot tighter in 3 and 4, as first lap is in, and it is a 2:37.746. That is a fast first lap. But we're going to have to see how that stacks up against everyone else. 3 miles coming to an end already. And it's going to be faster this lap. It will be a 2:38.822. So that will naturally take him to the top, but he is the only time that has been logged. So he will have an average of 238.286 miles per hour. Up next will be his teammate doing his first oval qualifying as well. It's the 94 of Dawa Tenzin. .238, 239 going into turn 3. You have to do a little bit of a lift in turn 3 because it does tighten significantly on exit. First lap not as good as his teammate, 2:35.808, so off by about 2 miles per hour on that first lap. Gonna need to find some pace on this second lap. Gonna come off turn 4, and we'll get to the line with a 2:38.022, so a good amount of a speed boost on that second lap. Will put his average just shy of 237 miles per hour. $236.915 will put him in second place. Up next is the 95 of Ethan Mars, who has struggled in oval qualifying. His whole team has just been struggling lately. He did get a solid result at Summit Point, considering the rest of his season. But still, it was only a 15th. Oval qualifying not been a specialty of this team, as he will come off turn 4 as, oh wow, that is very far off the pace, 232.538. So all the way down in the 232s. Second lap looks to be a little bit faster in turn 3 and 4. But at the line will be a 236.728. So did find about 4 miles per hour there. Put his average at a 234.543. So as of now, provisionally last, but that is with only 3 cars having done their run so far. Up next is the 87 of Alessio Deletta, who had a good run going at Pocono before he crashed out. This team, Banshees of Little Miami, have definitely stepped up their qualifying performance. Just haven't really been able to deliver in the race, at least for the 87. Holding the 220s in turn 3 and 4. This could be a good first lap, as that will be a 2:38.463. That is a strong first lap. We could be looking at possibly a 240 on this second lap. Doesn't dip below 225. This is going to be a fast one. 239.915, just shy of 240. And that will put him on top with an average just over 239 miles per hour. This is by far the fastest qualifying speeds that we've seen so far this season, even faster than Indy, and we're only 4 cars in. The only oval that we've gone to that's really rivaled this was Texas, the season opener, with a pole speed at 236, I believe. Maybe it was a 240. I'm not too sure. But up next is the 54 Mahavir Raghunathan. Just like his teammate, has also struggled on oval qualifying. He's done better in the races than the 95 usually, but has been out qualified a good amount of the time on these ovals. Yeah, Deletta didn't drop below 225 on his second lap. Raghunathan goes all the way down to about 210. So this first lap will be a 234.091. Looking faster than his teammate, but still tracking to 5th. But his first lap a lot better. Second lap, let's see. Not as big of an improvement that Martz had. Only a 235.736. That will beat Martz's average and put him in P4 as of now. But still 2 miles per hour off of the 94 of Dawa Tenzin. Up next is the number 77 of Stingray Rob. Last oval at Pocono, finished in P4. So let's see if that pace transfers over to today. Fired down the backstretch in the white and green, number 77. Onto the front stretch. This is a pretty solid first lap. 238.379. So there's definitely some pace there. Just a bit slower than Deletta's first lap. But right now tracking to second at the line. Gonna be faster, but is it fast enough? It's gonna be a 239.086, not as big of an improvement that Deletta had. That is gonna put his average at a 238.733. Not bad at all. That'll put him provisionally on the front row in second place. The 238.733. Up next is the number 99 of Brendan Hubbard. Really been pretty hit or miss this season. Currently sits just inside the leader circle by 26 points over Stingray Rob. Got a top 10 at Pocono, so there seems to be a little bit of pace there on the ovals. Had a solid run at Texas earlier in the season. As this first lap will be a 237.540, just a little bit slower than Hamilton's first lap. Right now, this is tracking him to P4. The tracking to right in the middle of the field so far, as this is going to be a pretty big improvement on the second lap. 239.723. That is a big improvement on that second lap by 2 miles per hour. That is going to put him in P3. So some pace in that 99 will put him right in front of the 44. 238.632. Up next is the 42 of Gale Barnhart, whose Achilles heel this season has been qualifying. He finally got his first top 10 in 6-7 races at Summit Point, but started so deep in the field, where if he started more towards the front, could have had a solid result. As first lap gonna be a 237.854. Not bad. Currently tracking to 5th. Would want a solid improvement. First lap faster than Hubbard and Hamilton. So maybe there's enough juice to take it to 3rd. Second lap not as big of an improvement. 238.611. That'll put his average at a 238.233, which is just shy of Hamilton. So that will put him 5th so far. So again, not a super strong qualifying effort from Barnhart. Will put him probably near the tail end of the field once again. Up next, the 29 of Benjamin Peterson, teammate to the 87. Let's see if he can rival his teammate's time at the top. Got a 5th at Pocono. And has seemed pretty solid on the ovals. He did well at Texas earlier in the season before an issue. As first lap, not bad at all, 238.484. That is faster than Deleta's first lap. Does he have the juice to take it over 240? Let's see what he's got coming off turn 3. 240.181. That is going to take him to the top, as he's the first one to hit 240 on his second lap, which will put him at the top of the field. But does that stand for pole? Peterson has one pole in his open wheel offline league career, and it came at his debut in Spa, which not only was that his first pole, it turned into his first win over a season ago. But right now he's at the top. Up next is the 75 of Jacob Abel, who's also struggled in qualifying. Does he have any pace in it today? His teammate leads the point standings, but he is all the way down in 17th in the standings. Wants a strong qualifying effort. First lap will be a 2:37.791. Not a bad start for the 75. See if he has speed on the second lap. Does go faster, 2:38.242. And this will put his average just over a 2:38. So that will be behind Barnhart. So again, not a strong effort from a 75. Will put him provisionally 7th. $238.017. That will put him in 7th place out of 10 cars that have gone so far. Up next, on the last two pretty fast tracks, Armstrong has gotten pole. So if there's anyone that can beat the Banshees of Little Miami cars currently on top, it would be this guy. Drops to 225, 224, but that's the lowest. This one's going to be good. First lap, 2:38.411. Not too bad, but gonna need some more pace out of it if he wants to go for pole. It's not far off Peterson or Deletta. Drops to 224. I don't know if there's enough in it. We're gonna have to see what speed he has. 2:39.287. That's not gonna be enough for pole. So what won't be a third pole for Armstrong today. That will put him in P3 as of now. So just ahead of Stingray Robb. But Armstrong again showing his pace. As up next is the 00 of Glubler Lore. Still looking for his first win, has the most laps complete out of anyone in the Open Wheel Offline League history, but still no wins. But he's gotten 3 poles on super speedways. See if he has it today. Come off turn 4 into the line, and it's a pretty decent first lap. 238.326, a little bit slower than his teammate Stingray Robb. Gonna need a big improvement if he wants to try to go for pole. At the line, will be faster, but I don't think it's gonna be fast enough. 239.118. For an average of 238.722. About 1/100th of a mile per hour off his teammate Stingray Robb, as he will go 5th. So the magenta trees out of 12 cars so far, 4th and 5th. So up next is the 07 of Catherine Legg, who's had a rough go at it recently. Was Rookie of the Year, but now down by, I believe, 80 or so points in just the span of a couple races. So Looking for some speed. .236.780. That is not gonna be good enough. Needs a lot more speed in it. That's pretty far down the order right now, tracking to 11th. Let's see what speed she has on the second lap. Not a big improvement. Only 237.781. As this season continues to get more and more difficult, she'll qualify provisionally 10th. Just ahead of Dawa Tenzin in the number 94 car. So looking to be a pretty deep starting spot for the 07 team. Nearly 8/10 of a mile per hour off the car in front so far. Up next, the number 12 of Miles Rowe coming off his second career podium. Eventide Racing has definitely stepped it up in the last few races. Obviously, Sonoda winning at Pocono. Rowe gonna drop just below 220. So this may not be a super quick first lap. It will be a 237.571. So not too bad. Right now tracking to 10th. Still looking to be deep in the field, unless a big improvement can be done this lap. As that is a pretty big improvement, 239.553, 2 whole mile per hour gained. Fortunately, it's just too little too late, but that is going to move him up the order. That will jump him all the way up to provisionally 7th. So a big gain there will move him up the order. Right now, middle of the pack so far from him. As up next is the 47 of Lindsey Brewer. 6th place at Pocono. We know she's had speed on the ovals before, and her teammates sit 1 and 2 currently on the timing tower. Let's see if she has the same pace. Doesn't lose a lot of speed in turn 3 and 4. First lap will be a 237.927. Not quite the same pace, about half a mile per hour off what her teammates had. Gonna need a big second lap here. Coming off turn 4. Not too big of an improvement, 238.537. Put her average at a 238.232. Which is just 1/1000th of a mile per hour off Gail Barnhart. Down in 10th. So does not have the same pace as her teammates. And will qualify pretty far down the order. But she's qualified near the back before this season and has clawed her way to the front. So don't count her out. Not quite the effort that the team wanted. As she'll just be inside the top 10. Up next, the number 90 of Guy Gagné. Pocono did not go his way. But Iowa was alright. Indy was alright. Kind of been a mixed bag on the ovals for Gagné. Texas was a pretty solid result. Milwaukee was a little rough. But let's see what speed he has. First lap at 2:38.001. That's a pretty solid first lap. Not many have gotten into 2:38s on their first lap so far. Let's see what speed he has. It will be a 2:38.453, so not a big improvement on that second lap, and that is going to cost him 2:38.227. So right behind Lindsey Brewer in 11th. That is a very close 9th through 11th. Just one gear shift could completely have changed that. Up next is the 25 of David Malukas. He's been fast on the ovals this season, qualified third at Pocono. Sorry, I blanked for a second, and then finished on the podium. Finished on the podium at Iowa, finished on the podium at Texas. He's been an oval ringer. Let's see if he has speed to go for his first career pole. First lap, pretty solid, 2:38.632. That is the best first lap we've seen so far. But is there enough speed in it in the second lap? He's going to need to get into probably the 240s if he wants to get pole here. It's going to be faster. It will be a 2:39.872. So not quite in the 240s. That'll put his average at a 2:39.252, which will split the Banshees of Little Miami cars at the top, but not enough to go P1. He will go to second. Another strong qualifying effort for the 25 of David Malukas. Been a strong oval ringer this season. Didn't have a strong result at Summit Point. Was just inside the top 10, currently second in the Rookie of the Year standings. $239.252. Up next is the 03 of Dorian Pin. Has started out qualifying Louis Foster consistently recently. Knocked him out in round one at Summit Point. And it's really started looking like the second car on the team despite Louis Foster being significantly higher in points. Let's see what this first lap has in store for Dorian Pin. Not a super strong opening lap, 2:37.917. Gonna need to find some more speed to get out of the mid-pack. Because right now she is tracking to 14th. As second lap comes around and it's not a big improvement, 2:38.621. Just gonna put her average at a 2:38.269, which will jump her up to just behind Lewis Hamilton in 9th. So not a strong qualifying effort from the 03. We'll leave her in the midfield once again. So right in the middle of the 18 cars that we've ran so far, as up next is the number 18 of Calamilot, who has struggled significantly on oval qualifying this season. Did not make the top 12 at Indy, qualified deep in the field at Pocono. Last at Watkins Glen, it wasn't an oval, but pretty much acted as one, as it's been a rough last two races, two back-to-back DNFs. First lap will be a 2:38.190, not a bad opening lap. Has 5 podiums on the season, but too many DNFs. As the second lap, barely an improvement, 2:38.295, only improved a tenth, which I think is the least we've seen one car improve, for an average of 2:38.243, which will put him just behind Dorian Pin in 11th. So not a strong qualifying effort once again for Callum Ilott. Put him pretty deep in the field. Not at the very back, but still not one to be proud of. Up next, your last oval race winner, the 27 of Yuki Tsunoda, qualified at 7th at Pocono, was 7th again at Summit Point last race. Does he have enough for Eventide Racing's first pole position? Need to watch his 225 in the middle. He just barely dips down to 224. This could be a strong opening lap. As yes, it is 2:39.023. That is the first opening lap to be in the 2:39s. This 27 has speed in it. Just slightly drops to 224. Can he hit 240? Second lap 2:39.404. I don't know if that's going to be enough for pole. No, it won't. That won't even be enough for the front row. 2:39.214. Not a big enough improvement on that second lap to nab pole position. We'll currently put it in third so far. Not a bad result at all. Will once again out-qualify the 12 of Miles Rowe. It's going to be starting about mid-pack, roughly. Up next is the number 30 of Robbie Lohr, who has struggled in qualifying the last probably 10 or so races. Right now his teammate Jacob Abel is qualified in 16th, and he's been qualifying at about the same pace as him. Doesn't go below 220, but definitely doesn't have enough for pole. First lap will be a 2:37.906, so another high 2:37 first lap. As he will come around for his second lap. and not a big improvement, only 238.158. This will put his average just above 238 miles per hour, and will put him just above his teammate Jacob Abel in 16th. So another rough qualifying effort for the 30 team. It's going to put him near the back, but he has been able to move his way forward in a good amount of these races. So can he do that again tomorrow? Up next is the number 24 of Chet Jordan, looking for his first pole of the season. Teammate Marcus Armstrong in 5th, other teammate Gale Barnhart in 13th. Typically, in qualifying, he's been closer to Armstrong. So does he have anything to go for pole today? 224, 223 is the lowest it goes. As first lap will be a 238.106. That is not going to be enough for pole. We'll need a massive improvement if he wants to get there. Through 3 and 4. At the line, he will go faster, 239.002. As this will put his average at a 238.554. Which will be just behind Miles Rowe. So not his strongest qualifying effort. That will put him in 10th, just above Lewis Hamilton. Didn't quite qualify well at Pocono either. So we're going to have to see if he can move forward from there. With an average of 238.554. So about 3/10 off teammate Armstrong and about 3/10 up on Gale Barnhart. So we'll go right in the middle of them. Now we go into your top 4 in the standings. Current Rookie of the Year leader, Connor Zilic. 2 back-to-back second places on the season. And momentum is on his side. You got the pole at Summit Point, dominated for most of the race, but wasn't able to get it done. Doesn't go below 2. Oh, he dropped a little bit on exit. And that's going to harm his lap. 238.358. So losing momentum in turn 4 will hurt his average. 238.2, sorry, 358 down to 220 in turn 4. So having issues on exit, as he will be the first car to go slower on this second lap. Only a 238.095 for an average of 238.227, which is tied with Guy Gagné. But since Gagné had the faster lap, he will actually beat out the number 9. So in a rare occurrence, the number 9 is the worst qualifier on biking racing. A shockingly poor effort in qualifying for the number 9, especially after coming off 2 second places and a pole. He's going to be in 17th. Up next is the number 11 of Louis Foster, has not qualified well as of recently, and hasn't raced well as of recently, and has lost his points lead. He's got to try to regroup and have a strong result here today. 226. 226 is the lowest he goes. This car has some pace in it. First lap will be a 238.706. That's one of the best first laps that we've seen. Here he comes for his second lap. 224. So this one looks to be slower. So I don't think there's going to be a pole in here. 239.107. So not a big improvement, but does go faster. That'll put his average at a 238.907, which will currently put him in P5. So that's actually going to be one of his best qualifying efforts so far in these last few races. But we're going to have to see if he can deliver tomorrow, because he's not really executed well in either qualifying or the races, which is why he's lost the points lead. Every point can matter, so that bonus point for pole position could come in handy. Two cars remain. Up next, the 43 of Shane Van Gisbergen. Didn't race well at Pocono and DNF to Iowa, so the last few ovals haven't gone his way. Let's see what speed he has in turn 3 and 4. 223 is the lowest I see, and that's near the exit, so that could really damper this next lap. First lap is going to be a 238.516. Does he have more speed on the second lap? He's gonna drop, oh, he's gonna drop below 220. That is not good. He's going to go slower, just like Connor Zilic, which will put his second lap at a 238.074 for an average of 238.295. This will put him just below Chet Jordan in 12th. Not a terrible result, but not at all what he would have wanted. Look at Connor Zilic on the leaderboard, has dropped all the way down to 19th, now just barely inside the top 20. Alright, so last car up. He looked like the car to beat at Pocono, then won at Summit Point. It's the 64 Ryan Preece chasing down his 6th pole of the season. Will it be him or Benjamin Peterson? Peterson looking for his 2nd career pole, first one of the season. Preece, 226 is the lowest that we see. This one is going to be close. First lap, and it is the fastest first lap we've seen so far, 239.22266. Let's see if he has the speed on the second lap. We've seen Couple cars be slower on the second lap. 2:27. This one may be the one to beat. He's going to come off turn 4, and he will have a speed of 2:40.075. Is that enough for pole? Yes, it is. 2:39.671. Your points leader puts it on pole by 0.3 of a mile per hour. The Benjamin Peterson just at the end gets nipped, taken off pole position. But that number 64 has been on fire as of recently. The most poles we've seen in one season, 8 by Shane Van Gisbergen back in season 1. Ryan Preece now at 6. He is going to be one tough car to beat to the end of the season, especially with his main championship rivals pretty far down. He has the same pace that he had at Pocono here. He could be in for a 4th win on the season, which would tie the record also set by Shane Van Gisbergen back in season 1. So there is your qualifying order. And it is a strong effort by the 64 team once again. So another thing to keep in mind, this does give Ryan Preece an extra point, and the last 2 seasons have come down to less than 10 points. So Ryan Preece will grow that lead. Came in with a 17-point lead. Now he's at 18 over Shane Van Gisbergen. He will start on the front row, and alongside him will be the 29 of Benjamin Peterson in his best qualifying effort of the season. So Banshees of Little Miami have a good starting spot. Row 2 will be David Malukas starting 3rd once again, looking for his first career win. And Yuki Tsunoda gonna be on his outside. Down to row 3 is where you'll find Alessio Deletta and Louis Foster finally getting a good qualifying result, and Deletta getting his best of the season. Row 4, Marcus Armstrong uh, just barely misses out on the top 6, as Stingray Robb will qualify 8th in one of his better qualifying efforts. Row 5 will be the double zero of Glover Lore right behind his teammate Stingray Robb. Then the 99 of Brennan Hubbard also having a pretty strong qualifying effort. Then down in row 6 is where you'll find the 12 of Miles Rowe and the 24 of Chet Jordan. And then in row 7 is where you'll find second in the championship, Shane Van Gisbergen having a difficult qualifying, and he will line up alongside 44 of Lewis Hamilton in his first oval qualifying effort. Row 8 is a little unusual. That's where you'll find Dorian Pin and Callum Ilott both having a rough time in qualifying today. Row 9 is where you'll find Gail Barnhart, and alongside him will be Lindsey Brewer, who does not share the same success as her teammates. Row 10, a little bit unusual, is where we'll find Guy Gagne and Connor Zilich, both of them starting deep in the field. Meanwhile, Brennan Hubbard starts off way up in 10th. Row 11 is where you'll find the other 2 Team Eggs teammates who have struggled in qualifying. It's the 30 of Robbie Lohr, alongside him the 75 of Jacob Abel. Then down to row 12 is going to be Catherine Legg in an unusually slow qualifying effort alongside Dawa Tenzin in his oval debut. And then row 13 rounding out the field once again will be the 54 of Mahavir Raghunathan and the 95 of Ethan Martz. So that is it for qualifying at Kentucky. Coming up tomorrow will be the Kentucky 150, 100 laps. It's going to be quite exciting, especially with how scrambled up the field is, as Ryan Preece looks to extend his points lead en route to his second championship. I will see you guys tomorrow. It's going to be a fun race that you won't want to miss.